Matthew chapter 23, verses 1 through 36. 7 woes to the scribes and the Pharisees. Verse 20, chapter 23, verse 1. Then Jesus said to the crowds and to his disciples, verse 2, the scribes and the Pharisees sit on Moses' seat. Verse 3, so do and observe whatever they tell you, but not the works they do, for they preach but do not practice. Verse 4, they tie up heavy burdens, hard to bear, and lay them on people's shoulders, but they themselves are not willing to move them from their finger. Verse 5, they do all their deeds to be seen by others, for they make their physicalities broad and their fringes long. Verse 6, and they love the place of honor at feasts and the best seat in the synagogues. Verse 7, and greetings in the marketplaces and being called rabbi by others. Verse 8, but you are not to be called rabbi, for you have one teacher, and you are all brothers. Verse 9, and call no man your father on earth, for you have one Father who is in heaven. Verse 10, neither be called instructors, for you have one instructor, the Christ. Verse 11, the greatest among you shall be your servant. Verse 12, whoever exalts himself will be humbled, and whoever humbles himself will be exalted. Verse 13, but woe to you, scribes and Pharisees, hypocrites, for you shut the kingdom of heaven in people's faces, for you neither enter yourselves nor allow those who would enter to go in. Verse 15, woe to you, scribes and Pharisees, hypocrites, for you travel across the sea and land and make single proselyte. And when he becomes a proselyte, you make him twice as much as a child of hell as yourselves. Verse 16, woe to you, blind guides, who say, if anyone swears by the temple is nothing, but if anyone swears by the gold of the temple, he is bound by the oath, by his oath. Verse 17, you blind fools, for which is greater, the gold or the temple that has made the gold sacred? And you say, verse 18, and you say, if anyone swears by the altar, it is nothing, but if anyone swears by the gift that is on the altar, he is bound by the oath, by his oath. Is that Elizabeth, your case manager, teacher, queen, girlfriend, lover, marriage, whatever? Woe to you all, wife. Verse 19, you blind men, as that person. Crazy, for which is greater, the gift or the altar that makes the gift sacred? Verse 20, because you're only in idolatry worship. So whoever swears by the altar swears by it and by everything on it. She was crazy. She worshipped idols, TV, American Idol. Verse 21, and whoever swears by the temple swears by it, and in him dwells in it. Verse 22, and whoever swears by heaven, which is us, the brown people, who really swear by heaven, by the throne of God, and by him who sits upon it, the real disciples of God. Verse 23, and back, woe to you, scribes and Pharisees, hypocrites, for you have been taught by them that you're normal people. You tithe and mint and dill and cumin, and have neglected the weightier matters of the law, justice and mercy and faithfulness of God. These you ought to have done without neglecting the others, the true people, the brown people. Verse 24, curses you for calling him white. You blind guides, straining out, that's how you curse him, out a gnat, a fly. She was named Natalie, a fly, like a bug. And swallowing a camel, cigarette. Are you Nat Cigarette Company? Verse 25, woe to you, scribes and Pharisees, hypocrites. You believe in God, but you don't believe in God yourself. You only say it. For you clean the outside of the cup of the plate, but inside they're full of greed and self-indulgences. Back, the flies in your cups. Disgust. Verse 26. You blind Pharisees, first clean the inside of the cup and plate, and outside also may be clean. Verse 27. Woe to you, scribes and Pharisees, hypocrites, for you are all like whitewashed tombs. It was a tomb. She said whitewash. It was a tomb of dead people who are in a beautiful place. Is she crazy? Which outwardly appear beautiful, but within are full of dead people's bones and full of uncertainties, uncleanliness. Verse 28, so you also outwardly appear righteous to others, but within you are full of hypocrisy. Praise Timothy for stopping them, and lawlessness. Verse 29, woe to you, scribes and Pharisees, hypocrites, for you build. I did not win, I am Israel. Build the tombs of the prophets and decorate them so they just die. Monuments of righteousness like George Washington's tombs, and all they do is live and die in them. Saying, stop the Pharisees who causes this. If we had lived, give the Pharisee to Lucifer. If we had lived in the days of our fathers, we would not have taken part, Father Abraham, in shedding the blood of the prophets, which is Jesus Christ. Verse 31, thus you witness, or Moses, which is the Pharisee, thus against that you are the sons of who murdered the prophets. That's your case. Verse 32, fill up then the measure of the fathers. Verse 33, the serpents, you brood of vipers, caught up with the prophecy of John. How are you to escape being sentenced to hell, not death on the cross, to hell? Verse 34, therefore I send you prophets and wise men and scribes, some of you who will crucify. I was not crucified as Jesus, for it was a Pharisee that was, and some who will flog. That's why I'm here still teaching today, 2,000 years later. Flog in your synagogues and persecute from town to town. Verse 35, so that on you may come all righteous blood and shed on earth. May peace and righteousness come back, for heaven and earth still exist after their death. From the blood of righteousness, Abel, to the blood of Zechariah and son of Barachiah, one who murdered between the sanctuary and the altar. Truly I say to you, all these things will come upon this generation.